We are going to have a very busy week with multiple storm systems across the nation, but let's first take a look at the heavy rain and heavy mountain snow across California through the end of the week. As a parade of storm systems slams the West Coast, days of heavy rain and heavy mountain snow will slam parts of the Sierra Nevada mountain range with upwards of 5 to 8 feet of snow through the end of the week, with locations closer to the coast seeing between 1 to 3 inches of additional rainfall, including Paso, Santa Maria, Santa Barbara, Malibu, and into Los Angeles. We are going to have 3 storm systems to watch over this coming week, with the first one ejecting out of the southwest through the day today. So let me move this along here. This is the GFS model. Here you're going to get a storm system form in the Great Plains, moving into the upper Great Lakes region, bringing a narrow region of some pretty hefty snowfall totals up across North Dakota, northern Minnesota, into northern Michigan. And then as this energy slides to the east along this baroclinic zone or frontal boundary, you're going to get a narrow region of some heavy snowfall across the northeast into New York, into Massachusetts, Connecticut, and into Rhode Island. Let's look at the snowfall map that I created for this event. So here is the snowfall map that I created for this storm, this first storm number one, and this is today, this afternoon through Thursday in the morning. You're looking at Fargo being in the 2 to 4 inch range, Miles City looking at a coating to 2 inches, and then up here in northern North Dakota, northern Minnesota, and into the very, very corner of Minnesota, the northeast corner, we're talking 12 to 18 and 8 to 12. And then moving across into the northeast, we're talking about 2 to 4, maybe some isolated 5 to 6 inch amounts in Albany, and then also into Boston. So now let's take a look at the 500 millibar and vorticity map, because that tells the story. So here is the energy, and it's ejecting out of the southwest through the day today into the overnight period. And then you're going to see this upper level low form here. And then our system here is going to occlude, but then you're going to get this energy to slide to the east here across this baroclinic zone across the northeast. And that is going to bring that region, that narrow region of accumulating snowfall across New York into Massachusetts, Connecticut, and into Rhode Island. Looking at the surface, let me time this out for you again. So here you're going to get some snow forming later this evening. This is around 7 p.m. as this low pressure starts to deepen across the upper Midwest. You're going to get some heavy snowfall tonight across northern North Dakota, northern Minnesota, moving into northern Wisconsin, and then into northern Michigan. And as this low pressure starts to occlude, you see it gets wrapped up. Look at the cold air. It's surrounded. It's in the cold air, so it's occluding. So the system is going to weaken. But then you're going to get that energy to slide eastward here across this baroclinic zone that is set up across the northeast. And you're going to get this energy to ride along it. And you're going to get a narrow region of accumulating snow across northeast with rain in southern New York and across most of the state of PA through the afternoon hours tomorrow before the storm system heads off the coast. And then we have to deal with system number 2. So let's take a look at system number 2 now. So storm system number 2 is going to eject out of the central Rockies overnight Wednesday into Thursday. This system is going to track to the northeast Thursday into Friday, bringing a region of accumulating snowfall across parts of the central plains here into the upper Great Lakes region. And then as the energy slides east along this pre-positioned frontal boundary, this baroclinic zone, you're going to get a region of wintry mix here across northeastern PA, northern New Jersey, into central New York, into Connecticut, Rhode Island, southern Massachusetts, and then another region of accumulating snowfall here across the New England and the Northeast region. And through the day on Friday, as this storm system strengthens and passes to the northeast, we do have the potential for some severe weather here as warm, moist air is pulled northward in the warm sector of this cyclone, and some moderate to strong deep layer wind shear, along with some stronger upper level winds that veer with height. We do have the potential, and the Storm Prediction Center has issued a slight risk for severe thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley region through the day on Friday. Now our eyes do turn to the East Coast for late in this weekend, where the potential does exist for another snowstorm along the East Coast and potentially a substantial snowstorm. Let's show you what the models are showing right now. There's a lot of uncertainty between the different models, as you would expect being this far out. But the signal is there that there is the potential for a winter storm along the East Coast. It's just how close does that storm track to the coast and how much cold air is in place? Because that's one issue that I foresee with this storm, is that we're not really going to have a true injection of Arctic air ahead of this storm, but it does look to be like it will be cold enough to support snow on the northwest side of the system. So this is the GFS. This is what it's showing in the most recent run this morning. Here you get some snow forming across PA, into south central PA, southeastern Pennsylvania, into Philadelphia, into New Jersey. And then look at this. You get a deepening low pressure here, and you get snow, a substantial snowstorm all the way up the I-95 corridor if this solution verifies. Look at this. Boston, New York City, Philadelphia. You're getting hammered with snow if this occurs. Now let's take a look at what the European is showing. The European is a little bit different, actually quite a bit different. You still have that storm here, but look at this. More out to sea. Look at that. So now let's take a look at the upper levels. I'm going to show you what is involved with this system. So here is the energy that brings the storm, and then the GFS wants to drop this northern energy into this southern energy here while it's along the coast, and they phase, and you get intensification of the surface storm system right along the coast. And look at that, you get a East Coast snowstorm out of that. But look what the European does. The European is a bit different. Let's move this back here so I can show you here. Look, you still have that piece of energy here that brings the initial storm system. And then look at this. It doesn't really ever get involved with that piece of energy right there. And that is why you see this difference here. Let's show you at the surface again one last time for the European model. Look at this. A much weaker system than what the GFS has at this point. Much weaker. Look at this. This is a major East Coast snowstorm. European, nah, it's out to sea. And that is all due to the differences in the modeling. You get the GFS, it drops that northern piece of energy into the southern piece. They phase along the baroclinic zone along the coast, and you get it to ride up the coast. Whereas, again, let's look at the upper levels one more time for the European. Look what it does. This never really interacts with this initial piece here, and it gets pushed out to sea. And look at the GFS. Here it is. There's that northern piece. Here's that southern piece. Look at that. They phase here along the coast, and you get a storm system to ride up the East Coast, bringing a substantial snowstorm to the major cities along the East Coast. Now let's look at one more model here. I want to show you what the Euro AI is showing. Euro AI, here's the storm system. Look, you have some cold air in place ahead of this storm. And then let's move this along here. And look at this. You get a storm system that rides up the coast, especially east of the I-95, where you get a substantial snowfall if this were to verify. Now let's take a look at the upper levels for this, because the upper levels, again, tell the story. Look at the upper levels. So here we go. I'm going to move this back here. So here's the energy that's going to bring the storm. Here's the northern piece. And look at this. Northern piece drops in to the southern piece. You get it. They phase along the baroclinic zone along the coast. And then look at this. You get a negatively tilted trough, which drives that storm back and northward along the coast. And you get a substantial snowstorm out of that. Let me show you what, I just want to show you just for funsies, what the European is bringing in terms of snow totals. Now, don't take this with a grain of salt, because we are so far out, we don't really have a good grasp on this storm system. But look at this. You get a region of about 8 to 12 here across south central PA. New Jersey, we're talking 12 to 18, and up into Boston, we're talking about 8 to 12, 12 to 18 inches if this were to verify. But there's a lot of uncertainty. If anything changes, I will let you guys know. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this brief update on our very busy week ahead. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like and subscribe. Follow me on X and on Facebook at Geostrophic Flow.